Hey there YouTube! Remember the OWLS Readathon? Yeah, about that. I was just so excited for this Readathon. I was in love with the aesthetics of it, like the whole concept, just everything. I decided to do it late, like I think I started it a day late, but you know, I was all in. It was so cool sounding and I saw so many other people participating in it that I thought I wanted to get on the fun too. I came up with a plan that I was sure would work. 2 audiobooks, 1 manga, and 1 novel that was not super long. I thought I could finish these 4 books in 4 weeks, no problem. Except there was a problem. Honestly, I did pretty well for like the first few weeks. I finished 3 out of my 4 books and got maybe about 100 pages into my last book. I came up with a plan for this. I had about a week and a half left of the readathon and I calculated how many pages I needed to read each day until the end of the readathon so I could finish that book. It was only about 40 pages a day, so not a ton. I was really excited to actually finish this readathon and then I just stopped. I was also filming like vlogs. I was filming my day, filming my reading, because reading vlogs for this readathon were super popular and I thought I wanted to get onto that. But then when I started editing them, they were super boring. I mean, honestly, my life is pretty much just like sleep and work and like that's it. Don't have a lot of free time because of the way my schedule is and my poor sleeping habits. So it was just like sleep and work and just like read on my breaks at work. And it was like not really working out too well. I did play a lot of Animal Crossing during this time because it just came out. I will say that. My life is always just sleep and work. It's not because of the like current pandemic situation. That's just the way my life is and it's terrible, honestly. And you know, vlogs are just not something that I'm good at in general. I've never really been good at kind of like daily vlogging. I've been trying to get better and I wanted to use this month to get better at it, but it was just everything was so boring and I didn't want to put out any content like that. Not finishing this readathon seems to be a trend with me. I don't think I've successfully finished a readathon since like Booktubeathon 2017 or something like that. Actually, I don't even think I've like finished my to be read for Booktubeathon ever. Maybe once, I don't know, I would have to go back and look at stuff, but I'm just not good at readathons at all. I like the idea of readathons. They always have cool concepts and different formats and it's super interesting and like seems like a really great community building exercise event, but I'm just not good at them. I'm definitely a mood reader like to the max. I don't make TBR videos for each month, but I don't really think anybody does that much anymore. And I try to write down kind of like what I'm thinking I want to read in the next month, like in my planner, but I never stick to it because I'm just like, I want to read whatever I want to read. So I think maybe the structure and like the deadlines of readathons just really don't mesh with my reading personality or really work with my complete lack of motivation to do absolutely anything. Or maybe the reason that I'm not good at them is the pressure of them. You know, as you know, you set a goal and then you try to make it and you don't reach it, so then you feel bad and then you look at other people and how they're reading and you're like, oh, I could definitely finish 4 books in this month-long period, and then people are like, lol, I finished 12 in 3 weeks, and you just, it feels like you have to read a bunch sometimes, at least to me. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. It feels kind of like I haven't really succeeded. I've been trying to think about why didn't I finish the OWLS Readathon and why didn't I finish that last week and a half. I mean, it was a completely achievable goal and I was doing that amount of reading every day anyway, so why couldn't I read 40 pages every day for a week and a half? And I liked the book I was reading. It was a good book and I was getting really into it as it was going, but I just didn't finish it. I think this has to do with a lot of things that are like going on with me right now, I guess. I just feel like I don't have a lot of motivation to do much of anything anymore. I have a lot of plans and ideas and I'm trying to figure out how to execute them, but I'm just not doing a good job. For example, this is the second time I've made this video because the first time was super bad and it took me a lot of energy to like refilm this video to be something that I'm like mildly happy with. I think a lot of the times just things get in the way for me with reading, or I'm not really feeling it, and I don't know why. It's a lack of motivation, or maybe it's a lack of feeling connected to the booktube community or the community that is hosting the Readathon that I'm participating in. I'm a very shy person, like online and offline, so a lot of the times I have a hard time like inserting myself into an event, or like just jumping onto hashtags or in discords and starting or jumping into conversations. So participating in like big online events is kind of hard for me. I don't really know what the purpose of this video is. I just wanted to kind of talk about my feelings on what maybe went wrong with the end of this Readathon. This isn't me swearing off Readathons forever. Maybe it was just the situation that is happening in the world right now. Also, Animal Crossing came out at the same time as this Readathon, so I was playing a lot of that, so maybe just mentally I was like, I want to play Animal Crossing instead of read a book. I just wanted to put it out there that I'm just not very good at them, and wanted to see if anybody else felt the same way that I did. If I do say I'm going to do a Readathon, don't have many expectations of like if I'm actually gonna finish it, because more often than not I am not going to finish it. I wish I had more tips and tricks on how to finish a Readathon or stay motivated during a Readathon, but I don't have any, which is kind of the point of this video, is just me talking about why I'm bad at Readathons or trying to figure out why I'm bad at Readathons. I like Readathons a lot. I like the idea of them. I think there's a lot of really creative ones out there, but maybe they're just not for me. You know, maybe I just want reading that is completely up to me. I do feel kind of bad because they are a great way to participate in the booktube community, but like I said before, I'm like very shy, so it's hard for me to like insert myself into a community or become part of the community, which maybe is my whole problem on this platform, but that's a discussion for another day. I think with my reading right now, I'm just gonna go at like a super slow pace, you know, just read what I want and try not to feel bad about not finishing anything. I want to try really hard to not feel bad about not finishing a readathon. Right now, I'm actually really enjoying reading manga more than I am like regular novels. Manga is really easy for me to read. I normally can read a volume in an hour and a half, something like that, so it's much more enjoyable for me right now than reading novels. Ironically, I did just finish a manga reading-thon, and I finished the whole thing. I completed all of my goals, read everything that I wanted within the allotted amount of time for the readathon, so I'm very proud of myself for that. There's a video about that coming up later. Like I said, manga is really super easy for me to read. Even though I could read something every day, it's only an hour and a half and it goes by really quickly, and normally, you know, it's more fun for me, to be honest, right now. Manga is definitely less intimidating than a 500-page book or like a 15-hour audiobook. It's just what I'm enjoying right now. I'm working on non-manga reading, but just at a very slow pace. So those are kind of like my thoughts on readathons and the OWLS readathon. I don't really know what we're supposed to gain from that, but I just kind of wanted to vent my feelings about it and kind of like throw some stuff out there and see if anybody else feels the same way that I do. I do want to quickly go over the books that I did read for the OWLS Readathon and kind of talk about those a little bit, just so I can have like a wrap-up of some sort. So I did read 2 audiobooks for this, and I actually own the physical copies of these. It was just much easier at the time for me to read these audiobooks and the physical book. Mostly the reason for this was Animal Crossing, and I got the game like a week later than everybody else because I got the physical copy with the pre-order bonus, and it was a whole thing. So I wanted to catch up, and I was playing a lot of Animal Crossing, so a great way to play Animal Crossing is to listen to an audiobook. So I decided to use the audiobook for these 2. I don't know if I got them on Scribd or if I got them through my library on Libby, not 100% sure. But anyway, the first one was Fallen Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, and the reason this was on my TBR is because I picked it up in like on Book Outlet, that's the word I was looking for. Picked it up on Book Outlet like years ago when I kind of like discovered what Book Outlet was. It was described as kind of like a Game of Thrones type of series, but YA. I do really enjoy reading YA fantasy and like the idea of Game of Thrones. I read the first book and didn't enjoy it very much, but I did like the TV show until like that last season. But anyway, so this book I did not like. I think maybe I gave it 3 stars, but I didn't like it. I didn't connect to any of the characters or really find out it's like there's nothing that happens in this book, and I know it's the start to like a fairly long series, but I'm just not invested at all. Like, I don't care about anyone. So I think I'm going to stop with this series and not continue because I just didn't enjoy it. There were a lot of people and a lot of places that all kind of sound the same to me, so I am just not interested. There was also like a weird incest thing, so that's not cool. So yeah, I think I gave this 3 stars, but just not interested in reading the rest of it. Next, I read some manga, and it was Magic Knight Rayearth by Clamp. This is the first omnibus, so it's the first half of the series. I think it contains 3 volumes. The second half of this series is generally titled like Magic Knight Rayearth 2. First arc of the story is what I will say. There's another arc after this, which I have not read yet. But anyway, this is about 3 girls who have never met each other, and they're in the same place at the same time, and they get transported into this magical fantasy land, and they're told that they have to become magic knights to save this fantasy land. It's about them working their way through this magical world and becoming better friends and learning more about themselves, like internally, and learning about each other. And it's a story about friendship and love, and it's like absolutely beautiful, and I love it so much. I actually read, I think, half of this series when I was younger. I thought it was much longer than it is. So I had the first 2 volumes when I was younger. So it was really, the first like 2/3 of this was very nostalgic for me because I was like, oh, I remember that. I've also watched the anime too, but the manga was very nostalgic to me. There's a lot of really strong relationships that are formed very quickly, and I think they kind of explain it in this story, kind of like, you know, when you meet somebody and you instantly connect with them, or you have some sort of straight, like, shared experience, then you're bonded really quickly and you can become really close like that. Like, not all the time do you have to spend, like, years forming a super close relationship. You can have an instant connection with people. And that is a theme, I think, that goes throughout here. There's also a lot of self-reflection, and also the theme of everything will be alright if I just believe in myself. And I feel like that's a theme that is worked into a few Clamp works. I haven't read all of their stuff, but it's a really big theme in Cardcaptor Sakura, and it's something that I try to remember in my life is, you know, like, if I'm feeling bad or like I feel like something isn't gonna work out, if I just believe in myself, everything will be okay. In this is like absolutely gorgeous. The armor designs and how it evolves, and just like everything, the world is, it's so great. I love it so much, and I want to find the second omnibus and read that. Next up is another audiobook that I listened to but also own the physical copy for, and that is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. And this book, I really don't know what to think about this book. I think I gave it 3 stars, but maybe it has something to do with the fact that I was playing Animal Crossing while also listening to this book, so I didn't really absorb it in the way it should have been. I wasn't really paying attention as closely as I should have for a story like this. But also, I think it's okay that I just didn't like it. I mean, it's a really popular book. The author has won many awards, and a lot of people really like this book, but I don't think I did. It's kind of a reflection on these 3 friends' life, and there's a bit of like a sci-fi, maybe dystopian, just like there's a mystery in it that you slowly discover what is happening in this world and what these people are, and it's kind of revealed at the end of it, but I'm still not 100% sure, but I think that's purposeful, that you're not 100% sure what exactly is going on. So it's really about a story about growing up and friendships and things like that, and kind of like maybe regret a little bit, but I don't think I liked it. You know, I just didn't really connect to the story or any of the characters a lot, so it was just kind of like I think I can recognize why a lot of people would like it, but it just wasn't really for me. And then finally, my fourth book that I started but never finished, the thing that like ended me, and that was Nevernight by Kristoff. And so I really like this book. It's very popular and I am liking it, and I was liking it when I was reading it, so it had nothing to do with the book, I think. It definitely starts out pretty slow and kind of picks up as we go, so maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, I got about 100 pages into this and then just stopped. I'm much further now. I'm just about halfway. I'm like halfway through this book, like pretty much almost exactly, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So we'll have to see how much longer it takes me. Hopefully I can finish it by the end of the month, but we all know how that went before in April, so this is very different than I thought. I think when I bought it, I thought it was YA, and I think a lot of people think it's YA, but it is very definitely adult, and I like that it's an adult fantasy that features like a teenager. You know, I feel like, I think because the main character is a teenager that it gets shoved into YA, but there are a lot of, this book is very graphic, there's a lot of language in it, so you know, there's a lot of death and like really potentially upsetting things to a lot of people in this book, so I'm not having a major problem with it. Some of it I'm like, ugh, but mostly it is an enjoyable read so far, definitely interesting. So I'm excited to see where the rest of this goes and decide if I can, if I want to read the rest of the series. That's my OWLS Readathon wrap up. If you have any ideas on how you can kind of like successfully finish a readathon, I would be interested to hear them. Or if you just have any thoughts on completing readathons as a concept in general, please let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish and nerdy content from me. That is all I've got for you guys today. I'm Kristoff. Till next time, matane!